My words, love. Whew, ha, ha, whew. Okay, it's 3:30 in the morning. I cannot sleep. I also don't want to be up super duper late because I want to get up relatively early, but I figured we could start Wicked Souls. I'm just going to throw it up here on the screen. Book 2 for Kitty Weismer. Oh my god, it's here, The Marionettes. Book 2, I'm very, very excited. I just reread The Marionettes Book 1. If you guys did not know, I listened to the audiobook on Saturday, being prepared. I think the physical copy is around 400 pages. The ebook is around 350 pages. I did not buy an early copy of this book. I was going to get on Saturday, but I decided not to. So my physical copy won't be in until the signed ones come out. But it's gorgeous. The cover's gorgeous. And this follows the place after the second book. I'd like to mention I do have a review for the first book in the series, The Marionettes. So I'll link it up in the cards. This video will contain complete spoilers. The initial premise for this series, though, is that we follow Valerie Darkmoor as she is training to become a marionette, which is a elite witches that protect or like bodyguards to vampires. The first book follows her process, ending in a shocking cliffhanger, getting into Book 2, Wicked Souls. I'm gonna get reading, and I'm gonna update you a whole bunch. There's a bonus scene for Book 3. Do you guys see that? Ah. So it's 31 chapters. I'm 30 pages into this. I already had several different thoughts and things, but it's fine. Also, thank you, Katie, for kind messages and stuff for the signed copy. Wicked Souls opens up right where the last one takes place, and we learn very quickly early on that our main boy here, Connor, there we go, actually got turned into a vampire. This was by Reed's doing. Reed somehow decided to make him into a vampire. He got moved down into the dungeons. She is taken out. They get into like a little spit bat. And then we have the actual ceremony where they go, or not ceremony, where they go and they celebrate, that thing. I really like the turmoil that our character, Valerie, is going through. There's a lot of lines in here that I very much enjoyed. And like I said, I'm sorry I don't have them right in front of me, or I would tell you. I highlighted them on my Kindle. We're also learning a little bit more about her, but she also is still possibly turning into a vampire, and nothing has been very for sure. I think that's all I have to say right now. If there's anything else I remember, I'll add it in later. But I'm very excited, so let's go ahead. I'm very excited to read this. I'll be reading it this week, and I will take you on my journey. Alright, I want to come here and update you guys on Wicked Souls. I think I'm on chapter 6, which is about 70 pages, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have a physical copy. I've been reading on my phone, as I don't really have anything else to do. Basically, we have just gotten to feeding. There are some good lines and stuff that I really enjoyed. There's also some subtle world building that I want to touch on in this update. Plus, we saw how blood witches get tattoos, which is really, really interesting, and how she compared it to the venom that she had to endure during the torture in the last book. So I found that to be interesting and intriguing. And then also, because Connor is a vampire, I think she is forgiving Reed really quick, but also I think the circumstances in which she's forgiving Reed, I think make a lot of sense. I also find it interesting that Reginald, the name Reginald, is not really popping up. I don't know how many times Reginald would pop up in this book. It's the same character. She just calls him Reed and stuff, and we have a clear timeline to what happened. Her mother definitely knew and gave the approval, which is horrible, and he found out about what the final thing for her would be when she got kidnapped, and so she was going to go tell her, or he was going to go tell her, and then she got kidnapped and all this stuff happened. So he didn't get a chance, and by the time he was getting ready to tell her, they were already going into the room because, Adrian, which is her sister, is the one who turned him. Also, Connor knew that what was going to happen, and so he agreed to be turned to be turned for her. Connor is now, as we have met Connor since he's turned, he's presented as very dark, very brooding, nothing like the really, really happiness that Connor was, which I do kind of find a little sad, to be honest with you, just because Connor was just so happy, and not happy, I should say, but he was a really bright, cheerful, very optimistic character, and now he's really dark and brooding. And he could be this way. And this could be a perfect way for Katie to take out the love triangle in book 2, just for that simple fact. So I do find it interesting, and I've not seen it done that way before. What else have we learned? Oh, the little bit of world building that we have learned is the fact that certain humans decide to quit like their day job and that type of thing to work for like nighttime. To work nighttime, and so like there's like a zoo that's not been open for a very long time. I did find to be very interesting. Oh, they're all splitting up. It's summertime and things. She's staying at the estate. One of the other characters who I did like from the first book is also staying at the estate, but all of her best friends and stuff are going to other estates or even other places for the summer. They have to take a summer class because they're juniors, but they are out, and so she is free. So I'm curious to see what that looks like, and I'm looking forward to chapter 16. As I was told, that's a good one. I will update you when I have a little bit more information. Okay, we're about at the end of chapter 5. I'm not really sure the last thing I updated you guys on, but she just had a dream about someone carving a message inside of her. I'm pretty sure that is what happened when she was tortured in the first book. I don't know. She also figured out how to block read from her mind, which was also very interesting to read from. I don't have any direct passages. I don't know if I'll do direct passages in this spoilery vlog to update you guys when I have more information. Just throwing some stuff out there to see if it, like, what does that mean? We'll see. I feel like I should just waited. She murdered 3 witches and just burned their bodies like they did in the first book, which she was really against, and now she did it herself to clean up her mess. Also, there was a dream of nothing but colors, which I also feel like is some type of metaphor. I'm not really sure what yet, but I'm sure we're going to be leading up to it at some point. Maybe not in this book, maybe in a future book. I do wonder. These are things I wonder based on, because I do know the first 3 books at least were written not together. I know they were all planned basically together. I'm sure there's certain things that can be foreshadowed for future books, but I do wonder how much is foreshadowed for a future book in that regard, just because of, you know, the making of it. Either way, I'll update you guys soon. Moro and Kirby are in a relationship. I've been trying to figure out what the point of this whole scene is. Obviously, it's a goodbye scene, which makes sense. We developed these characters. 2 of them are going, one of them is going off to Thailand, one of them is going off to a different estate, as we are going to learn about politics. And I was like, that's great. I'm very curious about all this information. And honestly, the way, like, certain things are going to develop, but they're, like, I think they might be fucking. Like, what? What a twist that I love. We support hardcore. Also, they think she might be a Wendigo? Can't say that was on my bingo card for this book, but okay, we'll see how this goes. They were researching them last book, if you guys remember correctly. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. Daniel got attacked in the woods also while they were running in the last book. They do believe that maybe they're connected, and she murdered 3 witches, which I do think I talked about, and burned them, and it was like a very sad scene, and I just really felt for her. Okay. I'll update you guys. I'll continue on. We're in like chapter 8. I'll get a page number for you guys. I'm listening to it at the moment while I do some cleaning. So, hi, I want to come in here and update you guys on some Wicked Souls content. So we have a few lines that I particularly enjoyed. Okay, my cat looks like she's, oh, I'm so sorry, baby. But I think you're going to enjoy it better in the middle of me than you are going to be on the side. Of course, that is my own opinion. So who knows? We'll see if she gets up and moves. We are on chapter 17, by the way, now. Actually, I think I might read chapter 17 with you guys, as there is a lot of world building that I think I might want to cover, and so it might be a little bit better for me to stop and return. There was a line that I thoroughly enjoyed in chapter 16 that I want to talk about. There's a few other things. She met with a girl who is a half vampire. This is someone who was born from a vampire and a witch, which was really interesting, and I really liked that. It was a girl that we've already met before, and they kind of talked about where they get their blood from and stuff. Yeah, it almost seemed like maybe she is not this Wendigo as we suspected, but she has a lot of psychosis thing, is what they're calling it, so it's very possible that it could be that. Another thing that popped up, I don't know, her and Rita are having some really cute moments. She had a nightmare, and then they slept together, like, not like sexually, but like just like, it's a very slow burn romance, but I'm very much enjoying it. Oh, also everybody's playing out the fact that like Reed's in love with her, which I also very much enjoy, and she has no clue, which is very much a Valerie thing to do. Just looking for it. They went bowling, which was kind of cute. Then that's where she drank from Daniel, and then she met the girl Winnie. They talked about some stuff. Oh, we also heard about her dad. Let me see if I can't find those quotes. Oh, here it is. 199 is where I'm reading from. Her words and what they imply make me pause. Her vampire side obviously came from her dad, but my dad's a skinwalker. Is that something that could skip a generation or two and get passed down? What the hell did my vampire gene come from? If it was further up the family tree, it could be on either side of my family. But if it had been on Mom's Blood Witch side, I guess it wouldn't be surprising if they kept the secret for the same reason I am. Because I think that's what they're thinking it's tying to, is the fact that she's a Blood Witch, is that she's a Wendigo. And she talked about how she probably couldn't go, type of thing. Okay. Oh, her and Connor also broke up. I'm pretty happy about that, which probably I forgot I existed. She is kind of focusing out. She started thinking about some stuff. She's doing a little bit of studying to try to run some of this politics stuff that we're about to talk about. And Reed comes in, and she doesn't realize. And he says, sorry to interrupt your meditation. He says, I'm not meditating. I mumbled, my voice muffled by the book. I'm wanting to die. Much more practical. I loved it. And then he notices all the stuff, and yeah, but it was very cute. Now I'm gonna read chapter 17. It's like 10-15 pages long, and we're gonna talk about some of the politics stuff, because there's like a lot of politics stuff, and I want to talk about the world building specifically. So give me a second and I'll come back and we can talk all about it. 2 seconds later, I have an update. So there are so many things. This is a very big info dumpy beginning of the chapter. It makes sense for the story, but it does feel a little heavy. But I also don't know how you can maybe try to look for the informational part. And how they actually didn't give her enough information, so she's had to do a lot of research. Reed is helping quite a bit. There are a couple of different agreements among the estates, largest being alliances. This is from page 208, by the way. Second paragraph down, in case anybody wants to read with me if you have the book. All the other states get to keep their royal families and maintain control over the individual regions as long as they honor the peace treaty and acknowledge the role of the Carrington estate as the ultimate authority. That's very interesting. The Queen Carrington is the queen. But representatives from these different estates all come together to vote on new policies when there's enough support for them. Seeing as Carrington resides outside of the regions and her armies are supposed to provide protection for all the estates and the alliances, and there have been more reaches to the borders than ever, it seems a lot of people are unhappy. We also met a werewolf. That was kind of cool. There wasn't really anything to it. It's hard not to wrap my head around all the different politics from the estate, let alone all the different agreements. Queen Carrington has groups with outside regions, packmaster, tribes. I wonder what the tribes mean. But it's clear no one else anywhere near the number of connections she does, something she's used as leverage for decades. I think that's everything. It's a lot of information. All right, if I find out anything more, I'll update you, or anything else interesting happens, I'll update you. I'm going to continue reading them. I think we might just power through this one and start with the other stuff. Alright, I have an update for you guys. Quinn, who we've met before, she helped with Reed when he was growing up, came back. I think she was going to help her. She had met the doctor. Quinn was like, I think I can help you with your problem with the Wendigos. They were doing something else. I think she was studying for more like the estate stuff. She brought her to a Dr. Corpor, who is a moon witch, I think is what they call them. And they have a conversation. A lunar witch, a moon witch, same difference. They end up like connecting between bonds, between blood. I thought that was really pretty written. Let me read that to you. 215, by the way, first paragraph. A rush of energy buzzes through me at the contact, and I momentarily lose my breath. Dr. tilts her head back, letting the moonlight fall on her face and close her eyes. And then she goes through several different things, but I want to talk about some of the bigger things that she reveals here. Darkness still follows you. Lots and lots of darkness, and you're running out of time. The more you use the herbs, the less effective they will become. If you do not find the one to reverse, you can reverse this before it's too late. Even the darkness will find you. And then she talks about they've been gathering many, waiting. You'll see them soon. So I do wonder who those people are. And then she tells them that she needs to find James Westcott. She asks them if she knows anybody, and then they get attacked by Marcus, who attacked them. I think it's in the first book they got attacked by Marcus. She ends up restraining him, and the doctor goes down. She tries, to do a few things, but they end up restraining Marcus. Oh, and then they realize that he went in to the tattoo place. I think they went to that at the very beginning of this book. And all they did after they got into the ceremonies, and she had to get a specific tattoo done. Maybe that's a lead, because he came out like this, more Wendigo-y than she is, it seems like. But we'll get to her theory in a sec. But he's not a marionette, and that is specifically made for marionettes. But they were very tense when she went in there. They're assuming that it's happening here by the state, that James Westcott is in the estate. And then she had a theory. So let me read you her theory. I thought it was very interesting. I think it's something we should keep an eye on, because normally in books like these, the theories tend to be correct. So they asked if Daniel was acting similar to what, unless he's not working on the boy at your school who was attacked, he's not experiencing the same thing. It's Daniel. No, not that I know of at least, but he never came in contact with Wendigos, just a vampire who did seem like, I don't know, maybe the Wendigos aren't the point, like maybe it's just like a side path, which would be interesting. They're more like a tool. Someone James Westcott presumably wants to take our vampires or witches who help vampires, hence the focus on the marionettes, which is the whole definition of marionettes. I add that, not the book. So he uses the Wendigos to make other vampires and witches go mad and do the killing for him. So whoever this James Westcott person is, he must have a grudge for some reason. I'm not sure how hopeful it is, but people don't like how it's run. Then she brings up the fact that there are humans working as well, and so she is now coming to the conclusion that maybe the humans are working with James Westcott to make a change, because the humans also probably wouldn't like the way it is. And then Reed comes and they're taking it back to the estate. That's the end of that. Okay. I just thought the theory was interesting and something to keep an eye on. And also the fact that there's people who are gathering and that there's a darkness coming, all brewing. I wonder where the plot's going to go, if we're going to stick to the more political side, which I think is the only thing this book is missing, is more politics, very plot focused, which is fine. I just think I want some more politics, a little more world building, or if we're going to go down the side of this specific thing. I also wonder if anything's going to get answered here. I don't know. I'll keep you posted. Hi. Okay. I know it just seems like I just keep, I'm not reading, but I am. We are now on page, if you guys are curious, 254, which means I've made tremendous progress since yesterday. I think I started 102. But the past 2 chapters have been fascinating, and I just want to do a quick little wrap-up of them. Give you guys a little heads up where we're at. I only do this with certain books, chapter by chapter updates, but that's okay. It's also because I have you right here. One of the biggest things that we had was one of our very first big action sequences. We had a few in the first book, but nothing super duper major, because she's a blood witch. I absolutely love how cocky she is. It's not a side of Valerie we get to see very often, and so I think it's a side that when we do get to see, it's a very special thing. So in this one, this particular scene, they end up finding out the name. They go there first, her and Reed both go there first, and they find out the name of the guy that they saw when they looked into Marcus's brain. His name is Terrence, and she ends going back by herself with Daniel, because Daniel is the skinwalker, which means that he can change his form, or I think he can put out a different form into the world. And so he put out a bird to keep an eye to see if he was in there. He was in there. Valerie went in there. She passed out somebody, which was amazing. The use here of her magic was so cool. It was so well written. I could see it. It was so good. It was so good. And then she grabbed him by the heart, same thing. He didn't really have any trust in her. He didn't have any belief in her. And then she showed him what she can do. She said, I can use your blood as well. And I just think it's so cool. And I don't really think we got to see her power being used like this. And I think it's amazing. And I think it's so well written and stuff. Let me see if I have any good quotes for you. It was in chapter 19, by the way. Chapter 19 was quite a long one. Oh, let me read you about blood witches. This is on 244 towards the end of the page. It's a part of dialogue from a paragraph. What's interesting about blood witches is that we can easily use someone else's blood as our own, and we're familiar with the human body, as you can imagine, how it works, where things are, where it could hurt the most, exactly what a person could endure without dying. And she ends up sticking it into his artery, into his throat, and pulling it out, and he realizes, oh shit, this is real. And I glanced down at the mess on the floor and frowned as I realized I got it all on my shoes. It was such a funny line, and like I said, it's the cockiness that comes off on her and things. Her and Reed got into it as well. Oh, we also learned that another state in Canada, one of the estates in Canada, do we have the list in this one as well? Let's see here. Yes, we do. Okay. The Prince Rupert, the Clare estate got attacked by Wendigos. They're underground right now, they think. And so they're sending out people to go looking. That was really interesting. And then the beginning of chapter, I think it's chapter 19. I think it's the first paragraph or the first section. She compares herself to Kala. Kala was her sister who got addicted to venom due to becoming a marionette. It's one of the things that could happen. And I really liked how this was written as well, so I'm going to read you a little bit of that. It's on page 235. It's the second page in chapter 19. Beware of the word addict, and they think of dingy alleyways and needles and skin, and Kala had been perfect, the first golden Darkmoor child before the title was passed on to me. Perfect grades, perfect smile, perfect reputation. Everyone had liked her. Everyone. Until one day they didn't. At least not enough to look past what happened. I spent the last 2 years of my life terrified of turning out to be like her. By the end, she'd been shaky and skinny and irritable, barely recognizable as the girl I'd grown up with. And, oh, this was a good one. So I sink down until I'm sitting on the floor and stare at the bag in my hands. It's the blood bag, a breed. Maybe this is what I deserve. Even if I hadn't wanted to admit it to myself, despite logically knowing that it hadn't been her fault, that there was nothing she'd done wrong, a part of me had judged her for giving it to me, for not fighting back harder, for leaving us. A drop of blood leaks out of the bag and onto my thumb. I stare, it drips down to my skin. It might not be venom, but somehow I still end up exactly where I've been running from. And I thought that was fascinating because this whole consequence was from her vampire side being brought out from the same thing, and so it's a very similar correlation. Kala is a character we never truly got to meet, as there's no flashbacks to her. I would want there to be a flashback, maybe like a short story or something in the future with Kala. I'm very curious about a time before the Marionettes book one takes place. But yeah, I've been talking for like 7 minutes. So I'm going to get back to reading, and I'll update you in a few chapters. I'm going to try to have bigger pauses in between the two so I can get, more of a dent in. But yeah, that's a wrap. Okay, I have an update for you guys. This last chapter was a doozy, that's for sure. The biggest takeaway is her confrontation with her mother. There's a lot of lines in there, a few that Katie herself wanted us to make sure we remembered. But one of the bigger reveals, if it's a reveal, was not confirmed or not in this situation, is the fact that she believes that her mother was poisoning her before. That she is the reason why she's been sick, and the reason possibly why this is all happening. Last book, they realized what the poison was, and her mother was mixing that poison when she walked in. They got into a little spit back. We got to see a little bit of her mom's powers, which was kind of cool. It was very threatening, very well written. And then she went to Reed's room. That's where her body took her. And they had a really cute moment. She's still not ready to do anything with Reed, but it's not like an open question to her. It's more of the fact that she's still not over Connor, even though Connor is gone. He's officially moved out. And yeah, it was really sad. I got a tear in my eye. I didn't really realize until right now as I'm blinking, but I did. Must have got one. Her similarities to her sister are very interesting. Her mother does not like her. I think that's been apparent throughout almost all the books, though, or the two books that we've read. So yeah, okay. I will update you as we get a little bit further. We're about to hit 300. I think it's 388 pages. Is that right? 377 is my copy. 31 chapters. And we are starting chapter 22. So we have about 10 chapters left and a little under 100 pages. I'll probably update you, I don't know, when something interesting happens. I just really like the scene, and I knew I would probably forget about it later on. Not the Reed scene, obviously, as they're building some more tension between their relationships. I can't wait till it happens. It better happen in this book. I'm gonna be really mad if it doesn't happen in this book, but yeah. We will talk about this, but I need to tell you, use your words, love, needs to be like fucking burned on me. I don't know. That's a bit aggressive, but oh my god. Okay, moving on. I will update you when this is over, but use my words, love. Whew, ha, ha, whew. We have, my CRMS and my food is in the shot. I don't care anymore. We have so many things to talk about. I was just like, oh, this is going to be like a pretty light update if I update them soon. I'm really close to the end, by the way. We are on 329 and chapter 26, and I'm mad. I'm so mad. I read so much of this book today. I probably read 90% of it today, or 80% of it will be the answer. But I have so much to talk about. Okay, they're in the bunker. They decide to put everybody beneath doors because of, attacks and shit. Oh, we have politics stuff to talk about? We have so much to talk about. Hold on. hold on. This is gonna be a long update. I'm so sorry, but there's so many cool things that I had realized. Oh, Ro's back. That's kind of cool. I like Moreau being back. And Nathan seems to be like a pretty swell guy. We're not really sure. I feel like Nathan could be someone who could betray us later on. I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. But they're back. Is this before? I think it's before the lockdown. I think so. Yes. So how long ago? Like 50 pages ago. I have something to tell you about. For chapter 22, that is the meeting with the estates, things that I wanted. So everybody came and they had a question or they had a thing and they got in a very big disagreement and 2 more people pulled out. When our person already pulled out, seems to be like, I figured it'd be like much more like chaotic. It was very dramatic. They flipped the table thing, they threw a chair, I think is what it was. But I'm wanting to read to you about vampires, as I had an impression what vampires were, and I was wrong. So let me read about it. There's 2 people in this group wanted to ban turning protocols, is what it was. Olsant and Joven, I think is how you pronounce them. I could be pronouncing them wrong. They pulled out of the agreement. There's been a lot of other attacks. They're afraid Kirby might be attacked. I like Kirby more than Moreau, I think. So, like, I would be really sad if Kirby died. There's a lot to read. Just bear with me. But it's such a cool system that I feel like it's very unique and very different from other systems that I read for how vampires work. And I'm quite excited about it. I don't think they talked about it this way before. Once again, these sections feel very info dumpy. But then you get made up with like a 30-page sex scene, and I'm okay with it. So, you know what it is? We'll get there. We're not going to talk about graphic detail, but like... Alright, this has been an ongoing point of contention. So they're talking about the ban on turning. She's asking what that kind of means. It's a more progressive belief system. Purists, some would say, they don't believe in turning vampires. Some find it unnatural since we can't do it without the help of a witch. And even then, you've seen turned vampires are different than the ones who are born, which I had some guessing that they were born. There's some other comments and stuff in the back here. Some believe we should outlaw it completely, especially as the number of turned vampires continue to rise. They outnumber the born vampires, at least 2 at one point. And he talks about how it's not like a very popular opinion, especially in the territory that they're in, as they're progressive in things, and not so much about purists, but just overall, and also witches being such a big point here. And then she asks him how he feels, and this is where the shit gets like real interesting. Truthfully, I think it makes some decent points. I think there's merit to what they're saying, but they're losing the chance of getting anyone else to vote at the table with how extreme they make their terms they banned. They don't just want people to stop turning new vampires, they want to limit the lifespan of currently turned vampires. Place more restrictions on them. They even want to place the restrictions how long a born vampire can use a witch to freeze their aging. I think that's so fascinating that it's the witch that freezes the aging and not that the fact that they're a vampire and they're immortal until they die. Like, he could die of old age. I find that to be fascinating. Like, so fascinating. It almost makes them human just with abilities, which is kind of cool. Both the queen at Suski and my mother have had their positions longer than anyone else in our history. The one last places where Kirby's at. A lot of people question whether a single person should be able to rule indefinitely, but plenty of people in that room have turned vampires they care about. Queen Cersei herself was turned over a century ago. They think she's going to let her representatives vote in favor of shortening her life. Of course they're not going to do that. They may have made it seem like this was a sole reason today, but the queen likes to believe our lines are stronger than they are. Things have been unstable long before now. If they're willing to walk out today, my guess they've been preparing to do so for a while. Okay, then they talk about the attacks to the regions and how it's not as bad as here, but they're still happening. The Wendigo attacks and stuff. So I found that to be very interesting how the magic and system and stuff is how close it is. So I really like that. Great writing, great building. Katie loved it. And now let's talk about the sex scene. I had known that this was in this book for a long time now, but I kept waiting. I just got done with it. It ends on page 329. It starts. Hold on. I can tell you. I was upstairs making food, and I was like, oh my god, are they fucking? And, they're fucking. It's like 314 to 329. That's a good size sex scene for me. It's so steamy and spicy. I can't get the fuck over it. I'm so belated. Okay, they kiss. It was everything. I was so happy with the fact they kissed. She kissed him. It was about. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. They both wanted to kiss each other. It wasn't like there wasn't like weird consenting things here. It was just the fact that she's still not over Connor, and I was wondering if it was like the haze because she just fed on him, and maybe it was like this frenzy thing, and she even thinks that. But then after the sex scene's over, like I said, it's graphic, it's fun, it's graphic. Like I was not expecting the word clit to be used, but here we are, and it was a fun time. Cock was never used, or penis or whatever, but we also never got the description of his penis. That's interesting. That's very interesting. This is really written from a very clear female gaze point of view, which I think is pretty cool. Huh. Okay, besides the point. And like it's just so good. They move into the bathroom. There was like different like settings. It was so good. And then he comes in behind her and she feels safe, and she has not felt safe in a long time. And she mentions that, and his answer here, the reason why I stopped on page 329, is I'm not gonna let anything happen to you, Valerie. I promise. Can't wait for that to fuck her over in the future. Can't wait for it. I really do hope if they're getting together at the end of this book that maybe the next book I mean, I expect some tension, some fighting to go on for sure. They butt heads a lot, but maybe it'll be a lot more calmer is my hope. We'll see though. Alright, I'm gonna continue reading. I'm sure I'll update you before the end of this book, but I want to say I'm gonna update you at the end of the book. But I'm sure that's not the case. Hi, I have so much to update you. I decided I would wait till we get to the end to update you. There's a lot of stuff that happened, but also not in a way. It's a little bit weird. We're going to read the last 8 pages together. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to look up when anything happens. I have a feeling that it could possibly happen. The big things is that she attacked the bunker. Reed got pulled away. They wouldn't allow Valerie to come, which was a bad idea. Moreau got pulled away, and so she couldn't feed at all. And so she ended up attacking the first person she saw, which we would soon learn much later on, was her sister. Her mother declared her no longer a Darkmoor. I don't really think that has any saying outside of their family history. So I do wonder what her place in society will be like. Reed has said that he has fixed a lot of the problems she has declared, saying that was a psychosis and that she's not actually turning and this stuff. And she came back willingly and she was out in the sun, and so I think it all is going to work out okay, which is a little interesting. I think it's a little too clean, so I do hope that there's a little more of a struggle. Not too much. I think maybe like first like 50 pages of the next book or something small, you know. I know it's a bigger book, so who knows. So we're gonna read the last 8 pages. She's with Reed now, and she does believe that he found someone who can help her. So let's find out if it's true or not. Chapter 30 is where I'm starting. Page 370, by the way. They got a kiss. I do enjoy that maybe they won't have any conflict as a relationship because they have centered it around everybody around her. I'm not gonna be mad at if that's the case. Scared of a mouse. Raising until there's a man. Oh. You found possibly James Westcott? Is who she's talking to right now? Dad. It's very interesting. That was in the last chapter. I'm curious to see why we got like 4 extra pages. Let's read. Chapter 31. I'm not going to play the role of a desperate, sobbing daughter for a man who didn't want her. A man who did this to her. That one. Yeah, he's an asshole. Ooh. Oh, he's saying, I'm going to cure you, but you have to come with me. Sorry. I'm realizing I'm making noises while telling you. He wants to break the bond with Reed. I don't like that. Okay, he's offering a blood deal. Let's read it together. So the first things we're taught about the dangers of them, the implications. They're not to be taken lightly because once you're in one, there's no getting out. But it doesn't matter if the other option is lying in here waiting until I rot. No specialist coming. My only hope has been finding James Westcott. And he's standing right here. Ah! She chose it. She chose the deal. That's the ending. I finished the book. It's done. We did it, guys. I feel accomplished. My cat is not really sharing, not really understanding what I'm doing right now. Okay, and that, my friend, is Wicked Souls. by Kay Weismer. So many things happened, but also I feel like nothing happened. It was such a weird feeling. I think it's going to be like a 4.5 for me. It's not a perfect 5. I think this might be the first one that I rated not a perfect 5 of hers, interestingly enough. It's still very good. I still really enjoyed the writing. I liked how interesting it was. I'm happy that I did like push off and wait, because I think that's exactly what I needed for the story. I still think I enjoyed the marionettes just a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out where I put the marionette. I don't know. I think it's actually like one of the ones that are like out. I think I enjoyed it just a little bit more. I'm still very much invested in this world. Like I said, I'm gonna make a whole separate video talking about my theories for Blood West Tides. We're gonna read the synopsis in that video and stuff, or I'll probably read it beforehand and then go off some of my theories from there. I just want some answers. I feel like this didn't really answer anything. Also, this puts a little bit of a struggle between her and the relationship, which does makes me a little mad, just because the relationship just got going, and I would like to see maybe 2 or 3 more scenes with them before we jumped into the next big struggle. I think that might be one of the things that I both enjoyed and didn't enjoy. This is an extremely fast-moving paced series, which is amazing to read, but there is no really big times to breathe, especially for our main character, which means it's not really time for me to breathe either. And maybe that's like the only thing that like I kind of struggled with. But guys, this is it. I did it. We finished Wicked Souls. I hope you guys enjoyed me reading this with you. If you guys did, give me a big fat thumbs up. Don't comment down below. Hit subscribe button. I'll see you all next time for another beautiful video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.